I just noticed this, check this out. Look at that. It's got an amber sweep style light. That's pretty awesome. The only problem is, this might be one of the best equipped trail rigs you could pull out of a box right now. It's the Croboll MK-07 by Rlaarlo. You know, Rlaarlo, the one that makes the speedrun cars and the buggies and the monster trucks. So naturally a crawler would be the next thing in line, right guys? Joking aside, this thing is loaded up. It's got a ton of LED lights, a bunch of servos to operate all the transmission functions, really cool looking Jeep inspired body, huge aluminum frame rails, and it's got brass weights on the portal axles. What other company does that? This is definitely worth checking out. So coming up in this video, of course, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about it. I took the truck apart so you can see some of the internal features. I'll show you how some of the functions operate. Definitely go through all the LED lights, and then we'll head outside and do some trail running. Let's go through the basics of the MK-07 first. It's 7 scale, 4-wheel drive, electric, comes with the radio system, and the rig comes out of the box just like this. Just wanted to show you guys some stuff that's on the box. They indicate that there is a brushless version. I, of course, had the brush one. And then there is the 5 different body styles. The Dinosaur Park, which is the Jurassic Park knockoff. I got the yellow. Looks like there is a gray, green, and red as well. The Angry Grill. I know there's a bunch of people that would love for that to go away, but in the RC world, that indicates that this isn't a licensed body. We all know it's a Jeep Wrangler, and it actually looks really good, guys. So that Angry Grill is molded plastic, and then look at the insert on the inside. They've got LED lights, and then LED lights inside the headlights as well. Looks like there's a dual setup, one on the top, one on the bottom. They've got lights in the fenders. These are transparent lenses. Then down to the bumper, it looks like a scale Jeep bumper. They've got LED lights in there as well, fair lead opening, and then some shackles. Just kind of wish that they gave us the separate piece like on the Rubicons where you could go pull this off and then you'd have a stubby bumper. That would have been really cool. But anyway, it definitely looks pretty awesome to me. The large fender flares are separate molded pieces. They've got the side vents, snorkel up there, hood vents for the Rubicon setup, even the cowl vents, separate wipers, massive LED light bar on top. Look at all the LED lights inside, but that's really got to light up. Even LED lights in the mirrors. That's pretty cool. Do these turn? Yeah, they even turn. I didn't check that out ahead of time. I'm really psyched about that. All the hinges are separate pieces screwed onto the body. Got running boards, roof rack on top. Looks like they got some mini sand ramps and then some jerry cans behind that. Like that, they've got the red transparent lenses for the tail lights. Again, even the molded hinges, and then the bumper definitely looks scaled to a Jeep. Then as you peek inside, you can see they've got a Lexan interior in there, molded steering wheel, definitely lots of decals on the dashboard. It looks like they even have apps on the radio. But what's really awesome, no body clips. They've got 2 body clips down in the front here, and this body actually hinges up. I've unscrewed the rear so I could take this off, but yeah, just 2 body clips in the front, pops the body up, and you could access the battery pack. So I've got the body off, guys. There's the interior, and you can see all of the LED lighting wires all over the place. Actually, they've got little circuit boards to go help distribute the power, because I think this thing has turn signals and everything. Haven't powered that up yet, but look at all the wiring. Not too bad to get it off. Just gonna pull off the 2 wire from the rear board there, and then undo a wire that's going to the receiver box, cut off a couple zip ties. So it's actually not too bad to get the body off if you have to do some extreme maintenance to the chassis itself. Got the body off the rig, and I'm pretty impressed with the chassis layout. Check out the aluminum frame rails, 6mm thick, black anodized, and then the jeweled edge is anodized orange. Really cool look to it. They carry the orange throughout the truck. Definitely like the styling on the inside. Servo plate up front. The battery's mounted in the center. Then they've got inner fender wells. That's really cool. Floor plates. And then these fender wells, they have the ability to add rock lights later on down the road. Probably should have put 2 spots in each one. I mean, this is a big truck. I like that the shock towers have tons of optional positions for the shock itself, so that you can do a little bit of tuning to the rig. And then let me show you guys the lower skid plate. There's actually a composite skid underneath this stainless steel plate. Love the look of this. I pulled this off. This is actually pretty heavy. I should have waited while I had it off, but there is a lot of weight to this vehicle. Definitely, I think it's going to help settle the rig in when you're driving. But look at this, even skids on the axle, and then they have a front skid to help protect the steering. On all 4 corners, you're going to find oil-filled coilover shocks. These are aluminum bodies that are threaded, so you can adjust the preload on the springs. Even the lower spring perch has a screw through it, so it doesn't pop off on you. The top cap is aluminum. Even the O-ring seal cap cap is aluminum. I believe there's 2 O-rings on the inside. And check out the diameter on that shock shaft, 5 millimeters. And for a truck that size, that's what I would expect out of this, but they definitely feel good out of the box. And then check out the links. They've got the 4 link in the rear. Those are 7.5 millimeter thick links, metal ball studs, and the ball ends. Those look like some pretty heavy duty composite ends. And then up front, 3 link with a pan hard bar setup. And then in the back, I just wanted to point this out to you guys. It looks like the screw for the upper links to the axle is a little too short. You can see the screw doesn't come out to the locking nut. So keep an eye on that to make sure it doesn't back off. 1, 2, 3, 4 servos to control the functionality of the driveline. So starting off with the transmission, they have an aluminum motor plate here. Actually, you can see it's a 2-piece design, so you could adjust the gear mesh, and then you'll notice the lock nut poking out of the front. That's because they have a dual pad slipper clutch in there. Seems to be well locked down from the factory, so not too much slip. And then moving back to the housing itself, low CG setup, just trying to keep that weight down low. And there's a 2-speed function and a little window so you can actually see it operate. When you pull the battery tray off, it exposes a transparent cover, just so I guess it's like an inspection cover. You make sure everything's working. Here's the 2-speed shift servo itself. And I did go and power this thing up here on the bench. It doesn't seem like it's a wide ratio. It seems like it's rather close, so you're not going to get a really top speed. Again, we'll check that when we head outside. But moving to the rear, they have another servo located in the back. And at first, I thought it was a dig. That was my first instinct. But it actually controls the drive function. So you could have 4-wheel drive, and then you flip a switch on the radio system, and you could have just rear-wheel drive, and then the front free spins, or you could just have front-wheel drive. So that was a pretty interesting setup rather than having a dig. I don't know if I like it more or less. Let me know what you would have rather had in the comment section below. And then all the gearing inside, from what I could tell, is metal. I think the spur gear was plastic. I didn't pull it completely apart, but did just pop the rear cover off so I could check out the gears. Those were all metal. There was some grease on the inside. And then it's got these metal drive shafts, the slider style drive shafts with universal ends. These look really heavy duty. They look like they'll hold up. Pulled the axle apart, or pulled the cover off the axle. It's got locking differentials, both front and rear, and they can be operated independently. Metal gears for the ring and pinion, and I think metal gears, of course, inside the differentials themselves. A full ball bearing, steel shafts out to the portal housings, and metal gears inside those. And check that out, guys. Look at those brass weights on the end of the axles. That's just killer. 230 grams on each corner. That's just really gonna plant this rig. The servos to operate the lockers are located on the side pans, and they just have like a bike cable going down. Everything seems to operate pretty smooth. And then check out the wheels and tires. That is definitely a Hyrax inspired tire. You know, you should really just give them credit. It should say Hyrax inspired on the sidewall, in my opinion. But it's a 2.6 inner diameter beadlock style wheel. Definitely like the look of the wheel. Nice soft rubber on the tire. Then a pretty firm foam insert on the inside. The size of that motor is massive. Let's talk about the electronics. I mean, that's just a beast of a motor. It's called the Stormbolt, 12,500 RPM. That's like a DeWalt size motor there. Looks like it's got a cooling fan on the inside, massive brushes sticking out of the sides there. Can't wait to see what type of torque that thing provides. Then up front, they've got a standard size looking servo. I thought they'd have something larger in here, but metal gears, supposedly high torque. They've got a metal servo arm on it, and then it goes down to this steering damper setup. So it's not just a straight link. And I did go fire up the electronics and tested it out, and it looks like it does have some give to it. So that's something I'd probably like to replace at some point. I mean, I'd just rather have a solid servo mount so I could just navigate through any obstacles I want to. But you know, if you want that protection, this thing will definitely offer it. Moving back, again, it's got the 4 servos. It looks like medium-sized servos, so it's not a micro. It's not a standard size. If you ever need to replace those, but there's one here, one under the tray, and 2 on the sides. And then over here is the 120 amp brushed motor speed controller. Nice large heat sink on it. There's your on-off switch, XT60 plug. There it is. And that goes over to the Rlaarlo receiver inside the receiver box. The receiver's got 2 antennas on it. I thought that was pretty interesting. And this case isn't waterproof. They don't have any sort of gasket or anything on the inside. So I just Be careful of that. Not sure if the receiver itself is waterproof, but with this truck, they do give you this nice Rlaarlo radio. I like the look of this thing, even though it feels a little plasticky in the grip area like that. It's got a foam wheel. It's got that faux disc brake in there, and then just all these different controls. So if you turn it on, it's got this chime, the Rlaarlo logo, and then just a lot of features that you go and adjust. The A and C button do your lockers, and then here is your 2-speed, and there's your front and rear, but even has a thumb knob on it, so that's pretty cool. Also in the kit, you're gonna get an instruction sheet, some decals, looks like they've got a spare tire mount, and then just a box wrench for the wheels, and I guess that's a screw to hold on that spare tire. So after going over the truck, everything looks pretty good. The quality is there, they got the right materials in the right spots, and I think the size is a real selling point. Just look at this comparison. You got the Axial 24th, the FuriTech 18th, Axial 10 scale, the Rlaarlo, and then the Axial 6 scale. This rig is a good size. And finally, guys, we got to check out the lighting system on this because it's absolutely insane. Just want to give you a little warning ahead of time. If strobes affect you, you might want to fast forward through this part of the video. But once you turn on the rig, this is what it looks like. You've got the marker lights, you've got the headlights with the ring around it, and then the center lights up as well. That is absolutely cool. Let me just spin it around so you guys can see the tail lights. Nothing on right now, but then once you start hitting some buttons, that's when things light up. So check it out. Guess this is for your nighttime runs. When you turn it on, that's just the headlights for the daytime running. See if it's got reverse lights. Yes, it works. Look at that. That is very cool. Now, this is just insane in my opinion. Once you start hitting this C button, watch everything that it does. Got your high beams. You got your fog lights on. And then look at that light bar. That is just intense. It is lighting up this room. That is so cool. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Hit it again. Look at that. Rainbow strobe. Police lights. White flashing strobe. Green. Blue. It just goes through the different colors. Absolutely awesome. And once you hit it again, you're back to the start. Let's go. We got the perfect day out. This beast is all powered up and ready to go. Let's hit the trail. You know what, let's just start right here and see how this thing drops down the hill, how much control we have with the speed controller set up. And that's the lowest I can get the throttle. Not too bad, controlled. Rig's definitely planting itself with all that weight. Now, we'll see how it does with the incline. And it's in low gear. Lower, there we go. That's as low as I can get it. Good forward progression. It's looking good. Look at that. It's got an amber sweep style light. That's pretty awesome. The only problem is you can't shut it off. It always has the blinkers on when you turn. Oh. So let's see what it has speed-wise. There's low gear, full throttle. And like I mentioned in the studio, I don't think the second gear is gonna give us that much more speed. There's reverse. I'll hit the button. Ooh, there we go. This is out of gear, and that's top speed. So I think it's gonna pull away from you on the trail, but I would have liked to seen more power out of it. Here's a good spot to talk about the steering, or the limited amount of steering. Watch this. I'll cut it around the tree here. And it's got a pretty wide steering angle to it. Cut it back around again. And look at that. It's just kind of pushing out there. So it seems like there's actually some more travel that you could dial in with the radio system. But the tires grab the front bumper. And remember back in the studio when I said I wish those end caps could be removed from the bumper like the real Rubicon steel bumpers? That would have really helped out. Maybe you go cut those off later. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like multi-point turns here. I don't know, what do you guys think? All right, guys, so this is my second run up the incline rock here, and my first run I accidentally hit the drive button, only had rear wheel drive, and was actually pushing some of the diff buttons thinking it was a diff that was spinning. So sometimes having a lot of functionality might bite you, but I don't know, it depends on the type of driver you are, I guess. So sometimes the hazards turn on. No idea how I did that, but I can't seem to shut it off. I'm gonna have to figure that out later. I guess that's better than the turn signals. No, actually the turn signals override it. But look at that, made it through that. Perfect, nice. Turn on some lights for this last test. There we go. That light bar is bright even in daytime. So everything's locked up. We are in low gear now. Let's see how well this thing crawls up this gnarly rock face. Oh, look at those tires suck in. Look at that, no problem. This thing's just mopping through this stuff. Slides down on those skids. Perfect. Awesome. Supposedly we got a 58-degree approach angle. Let's see if it clears this. Oh yeah, no problem there. High-sided it. Back down, try a different angle. There we go. Oh, that tire squish. Money. I have to tell you, after the recent wave of small-scale vehicles, driving something this big was a lot of fun and really exciting. I think they did a great job with this rig. The suspension works really well. It's nice and soft. You get some body roll. It looks very realistic. The body out there looks absolutely awesome as well, and the lights really add to the fun factor of it. This is the first rig where I really played with the lighting system on it while running through the trail. Just got a really good look. But there's a few little issues with the truck that we got to talk about. And number one is it's kind of noisy. I mean, it's an 18-pound rig. It's got Mod 1 gears in there, and it's carrying a lot of weight. So it's got some noise to it. You're gonna definitely be noticed on the trail if you got some hikers around you, and maybe the RC guys will say something as well. The other thing is the steering. Well, it's got a few issues there. The servo itself, I think, needs a bit more torque, so you might want to look for a higher torque servo at some point. That steering damper, I think it's got to go. It looks neat. It's a neat concept, but it holds back on the steering. It definitely stalled out on me a number of times because of that steering damper working. And then the tires hitting the fender wells and the front bumper. So you could probably cut that front bumper to stop the tire from grabbing it. But you don't have any body height adjustment, and it's I think something you're gonna have to live with. That being said, I'm in a couple of Jeep forums for my Gladiator, and I see people talking about tire rub all the time in full scale. So a little tire rub here, you may have to deal with it because it is a really fun rig to drive. Very capable, very exciting. There's a little bit of a learning curve to the radio system. You might want to watch the video on this. I'll have links for everything in the video description below, especially if you're into it. There's a link over to Rlaarlo. From what I heard, they're gonna have over 500 of these for the release of it, so you're not gonna have that supply issue that some of their other vehicles, I guess, experienced. And they are gonna have like a FPV system for this, I think. They show something on the box that indicates there's gonna be a camera and an app. I went to the App Store and unfortunately it's not there yet, so I can't talk to you about it. Did Rlaarlo nail their first crawler release? Let me know in the comments section below.